episode 2 of Client Stories on Tom Stevens. Wait, it's not Tom Stevens Unplugged. Client Stories. Hey, it's Tom Stevens Unplugged Client Episodes 2. Here we go. Let's get it. So the story today is tied to the one from last time. If you haven't seen the last one with the couple I was seeing in episode 1, go check it out right after this. This is about the daughter of the couple I was seeing in the last episode. She was a teenager, about 16 years old, and this is way back in the day. It's probably 20 years ago, maybe more, where there was the kind of innovation of cell phones. Remember flip phones, right? And you used to text on flip phones where you had to push, if you wanted C, you'd have to push the number 3 times to get C. If you wanted B, you'd push it 2 times. And it took forever to do texting. If y'all don't know that, go check it out, because it used to be really hard to send text messages. And we used to have to pay for every text message we sent out, which is different than a lot of things now. So this girl I was seeing, and she was, I loved seeing her, but she was a rebel and she did some wild things. And so she got her cell phone and she went crazy with texting. Now, this was again back in the day. She was good enough to text. She could have a phone in her pocket and her hand in her pocket, and she could text. She was this good. She could text people in her pocket without trying to not let me see it, but of course I could see it. And then she'd pull it out and she'd kind of glance down at it and see what the person said. And then she would put it back in her pocket and respond. And I would finally have to say, enough with the phone, put it aside. The dad comes into me one day, the very dad that was in the couples session while the guy was trying to break in my office from episode 1. Go check it out. He comes in and he's like, we got to do something about this. I just got the cell phone, the bill from my cell phone company. And you are not going to believe how many text messages my daughter has sent over the past month. Now, the way they did it in the old days was they would show you how many you sent and how many you received. So all of these, only half of them were what she sent pretty much. The other half was what was sent to her. In 1 month, 30-day period, she had 27,000 text messages between her and her friends. 27,000. And I'm telling you, this had to be a record back then because it was early 2000s. And I'll bet if some national news caught on to it, they would have had her on. 27,000, if you decide, that's almost 1,000 a day, which is about 500 a day for her, times the amount of waking hours she had, okay? And you're not even texting all day because when you're at school, you can't do it nearly as much back in the day. But she was averaging an exorbitant amount, and she was just sitting there looking like, so what's the big deal? And his cell phone bill, which was thousands of dollars, he went ballistic. He was so upset. And there was nothing. I'm like, how did you not see your daughter texting this much? 27,000. If you want to go check that out, just see how many messages you send a day, because it's so easy today to do it. Back then it wasn't so easy. And that girl was headed for trouble. So I told the dad, first of all, you've got to take her phone. She has got a problem. I said, this is called an addiction. Now, you got to remember, this was way back in the day before social media was really a thing. And so having a cell phone addiction was kind of like not really something anybody had a radar on. And I was like, she is addicted to this. She can't stop it until you take this phone away. So I think he took the phone away for like a week and then gave it back to her, and it never actually got better. This whole situation never got better, but she was always pushing the limits. You know, it's so easy to send text messages today back and forth. It's just quick. It's easy. Technology is so simple compared to pushing those buttons every single time you wanted a letter to spell out something. I'm guessing people probably send and receive 500 text messages a day. I guess on average, like teenagers may do a little bit more, but when I compare that to back in the day of 1,000 almost a day for her, solid, that average, when you consider 500 and you even divide it by, 15 waking hours, that is exorbitant. That has to be like, 40 or so an hour that she was sending nonstop while she was awake. That was the first case that I ever had to deal with an addiction problem with the cell phone. Like I had plenty of kids that tried to use their phone all the time, that tried to, text and hide it, and they tried to do, stupid stuff with it, but never to the extreme of 27,000 text messages in a month. So that was the first time I had seen it. It had to be early 2000s. This is a problem. We need to do something about it. There you have it. Episode 2 of Client Stories. Tune in next time for more on Unplugged, and go back and watch the other episode. If you like this, like it, subscribe. Hop on over to Reaction Therapy. Subscribe to that as well. We have a whole lot of content you want to check out. See you next time. Okay.